Yo ho, it's Will, and I'm gonna go through something pretty powerful in this presentation and then describe the service I'm offering around this, and it should be pretty mind-blowing, game-changing for you. So a lot of you, I'm gonna talk about this chart to start, but a lot of you will know of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, pretty basic stuff. You know, in Africa, they're not worried about self-actualization. Generalizing, they got it cooking in Morocco, some of them. But first things first, Now, in our culture, a lot of people have that like midlife crisis, right? Because they've got their root needs taken care of, and they could be self-actualizing, right? So what we're going to talk about here is like, for those of you who feel like there's more, great, you're a manager, great, you're this, that, the other, 100K. None of that's wrong. I'm just saying, like, there's a point in your development where you're like, I know I could be tapping into something. That's what this is about. We're going to look at it in two ways. Here is just some science on adult development. These guys from like Harvard, it's a soft science where they do hard data, but they have to measure like human behavior, cognition methods, etc. And they're able to map stages of development that both people and cultures move through. So, a toddler is at like red, and a lot of adults tap out at amber. Evangelical Christians, orange is kind of like Trump, green is kind of like Bernie. Teal is where you start self-actualizing, and you actually want to get, in the heart of this program, is up over the next line, where you are actually like plugging into something that transcends space and time. Now, my background is physics, if you don't know, and this is like a rational scientific approach, but we are connected to portions of our selfhood that span time and space, and that is really where the juice at. That's like, where did I come from? Why am I here? These are games we play in the hallways of eternity that are very well designed. And a lot of the reason people have those midlife crises is because they don't have the framework that allows them to tap into those answers that they want, like what is my purpose, etc. There are real answers to that. So, this looks like just a chart, but this is what we needed in school. This is the game we're playing. We're evolving. And anyway, the heart of the culture just moved into green, like the intellectual leadership. This is kind of fun fact for you, but it's interesting. Like, systems are not designed by the lower tiers. And we're one family, no judgment, But like, the Declaration of Independence was an orange document, and there's like 10% of the culture is at that level of consciousness. So our like bureaucrats, our academics are mostly green right now, but if we can get that to teal, it'll be better. And you want to, in your own life, be indigo and beyond. So we'll talk about that. Now, this is a fun fact, but it is, phone call, relevant. Moore's law in technology? So the technology speeds up exponential. Well, that's a reflection of us. Our technology is a reflection of us and our consciousness. But as we learn, as we have more sophisticated tools, as we have more advanced cognition, we're able to learn even faster. So what's interesting is today there's people at all sorts of levels. And in your own life, you find this. Your growth accelerates. It gets faster. The wiser you are, the quicker you learn your lessons. And you actually end up being able to like be spiritually guided in your lessons, which, I learn at rates that it almost embarrasses me every like 6 months. I'm like, you get soft on yourself, you understand, but you start to learn so fast that you're constantly improving in major ways. You have major blind spots, and once you start like being attuned to that, you're like, oh my God, that was a major lesson. I can't believe I thought that for 20 years. What a fool. So I'm sure I'm acting a fool right now. I'm sure of that. Now, I've been using this word sotapanna. The Buddhists used it for the first map of enlightenment. And if you say that word, everyone's like, oh, this kid thinks he's enlightened. It's just really awkward and weird. The thing is, going back a few slides, we're always gaining in light, okay? And the Buddhists have a map of they have a sophisticated map of enlightenment. There's always work to do. But this word means to enter the stream. And that's a real place you can get to in your development. And there's a systematic, structured way to do that. That's like the whole point of my program is to have like a step-by-step structured approach to achieve, in science you could call it like above indigo, but a phase where you're viscerally attuned to your soul or your eternal aspect, and you're in like a living, waking miracle for realsies. That's not overstated. And there's so much juice there, it's like a whole nother level. I mean, my cognition, what doesn't even make sense to most people. I receive like visions, messages, metaphors. I meditate and I get like signposts and symbols. I have dreams that mean things. When I'm with people, I understand their subconscious blocks, and sometimes I'm called to like help them with that. I maintain frequency for a room. It's like, people are only 2% in their body. There's so much energetically happening that the culture doesn't know. That's the joy. That's why the animals are happy, is you're alive in there. And we as humans have upper bandwidths to rock too. So how do you actually do that? Basically, dial it back. What I'm saying is there's a game you could be playing that the culture was not aware of, and now we have the science to be aware of it. There's tools, systems. A lot of people are doing it. This is not, in the shadows. Soon it's going to be the default MO. It's just there's a lot of forces that actually oppose this progression, and the culture more or less is still subdued or head bowed to those forces. So how do you stand up? How do you stand up? Hey! Science. You need the right science. You need to actually know how the game works. There's a bunch of quantum physics you need to understand. You must. If you don't know the game you're playing, you can't play correctly. So no disrespect to our elders, but now we have more information, and to be graceful, like all of us can ingest that information and come to and start living in the light. I said people are only 2% in their body. That's about accurate. There are tools to wake up your body. You have to heal. A lot of your body issues, posture issues, pains are actually mind-body. Once you have the right physics, you understand that. And to rejuice that is most of what you want. The animals are happy. It feels good once you have your body on. We as humans have complexities. We have to do a lot because we're so mind-body to keep our body humming. But there's a huge awakening and healing process to get that going. Again, tools for that, process for that. And okay, not to be gnarly, but when you hopped in, remember that graph of everything heating up? When you hopped in, no offense to our elders at all. We are one team playing this game in the hallways of eternity. But you were not in a household, any of you, that was perfect peace. You weren't in a bunch of Buddhas. So people, if you hear what happened to your parents, what happened to their parents, you go back long enough and you're in the Civil War, you go back longer, it's even more gnarly. You know what I mean? So people in heaven, you get to be yourself. It's soft. Heaven's a metaphor for everyone perfectly enlightened, right? As a culture develops, it's not quite like that. And people, they trade some blows. You trade some blows, you put up some shields. The kids did that today. Oh no. And you start cloaking your personality, which robs your heart of joy. Okay? So you have a set of traumas, and some of them are mysterious, but they affect you always. Okay? Most people are neurotic thinkers because they have repressed pain they're avoiding, and it takes energy to avoid that pain. So there are ways to get in there, clean it up, make yourself happy, be like SpongeBob, not Squidward. But this is a living art form. Most people aren't conscious that they have problems. You ask them how they are, and they're like, oh, I'm fine. If you ask me how I am, I'm humble because I'm always learning stuff. I kind of am an idiot. But that is healthy, because if you're aware that you still are learning lessons, you can learn those lessons, right? I'm saying you will be surprised once you start getting aware of this, how many lessons you have to learn. Not to be cruel. It's still, not to be cruel, it's still kind of garbage town down here. We have plastic in the oceans. People have garbage in their psyche. There's reasons people are so tooty and prickly and lame. Not to be judgmental. There's a good person in there, but you gotta figure it out. Now, you need assistance with this. Frankly, if you want to move fast, I could not toot my horn. I'm a genius at this. I get this at layers that are so deep it's mind blowing. I feel like you're an idiot, but I'm just trying to explain that assistance with these is very useful. Your own emotions make it hard to, eventually you heat up to a point where your spirit helps you learn your lessons. But until that point, it's helpful to have someone at that level of clarity to assist you, okay? So, upper levels. Okay, you have a Lamborghini of the soul. So what you think you want is not what you want. What you actually want is a living, pulsing connection to, like, your inner pharmacist. Your inner pharmacist, the thing that keeps you happy, that is your spirit. Your spirit is running it, the whole fucking thing. And until you can be in communion with your spirit, you're gonna be capped. And this is why all the monks they get all excited. They're like, oh, I found something. You want to find that. If you haven't found that, you're still a little kid. No disray to our elders. If you don't know why you're here, and if you don't know your soul, and your soul's playing with you, and you don't have a living connection to your soul, you are missing the point. And you'll end up making a mess, and they call that karma. Anyway, no big deal. We have lots of time and eternity to figure it out, but you're best to figure it out yesterday, now, tomorrow, not in 60 years. No offense to our elders, but not many of them did this. Some of them are doing it now. Some of them did this, and I'm just saying you can't always copy paste from your elders. No offense, but that's why a lot of people go to church over the eons, and there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, and I do believe Big J came and crushed, but like a lot of the reason people do things is out of a copy paste. That goes back to some of that psychology scrubbing, but if you want to do this, you have to be willing to look at new science, new perspectives, and explore for yourself. And if your soul starts knocking on your door, you want to open it. Yeah. All right, this is a testimonial. I feel like people like testimonials. I'm good at this. Yay. I'll just shut up so you can read it. I really am not a salesy person. I'm just trying to communicate. You're going to have emotions in you that are like, oh, I shouldn't do this. That's your lower self. It must be conquered. I'm soft. I'm nice. I'll be nice. I'm like a librarian. I hear you. Yeah, basically there's a step-by-step process. There's a lot of tools. It all comes together. What's cool is I put this together on a website. And so in this program, you and I work one-on-one. And out of the box, I thought that would be monthly, but I've been doing it almost weekly with most people. Check-ins, troubleshooting, and blah, 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 blah. There's also a structured learning curricula center, so you can go through things like in the proper order, and it's kind of fun. So I'll show you that for a second. But you can go through courses, right? And at the speed of the internet today, go mush. And it's pretty dope. So we got most of the stuff you need, kind of systematic. So this is for you a learning resource, and it grows. I put things in front of you as you need them, but what's cool is it's rational, objective. You can validate it. With spiritual stuff, you got to be careful because some people just go off faith and resonance, and they can end up with distorted belief systems. So although it may sound boring to be rational, that's the way to be. You want to be that way. And It's cool. It's better that way. So structure, group, fun. In the future, we may travel. I've got, it's going to grow. It'll grow. It'll be cool. And the heart of it's one-on-one, me and you charting your growth together. And I can help you because it took me a long time, but I earned my spirit chops, and I am connected to some of that information. For some of you, it may be outside your belief system, that type of information, but we have the science for that, and then there's a process to prove it true in your own life. So it's kind of meant to be fun, not boring. This is me jumping over a cliff. Do you have to do that? No. I was swimming in an ice river in Michigan. Do you have to do that? No. But you want to work with someone who's been pushing it, just because it is a vibration game, frequency game, and I will assist you. So I want this for us as a collective because it's how we light up the planet. Each of us who does this helps. You have the clarity and wisdom to help the others in the vibrational field. This is kind of very true. These images here, you do propagate a field. There's real science for this. So you want to be an energy creature who is jacked in. You want to understand. You want to level up. You want to know the game you're playing. And it's gentle. Like, let's say you're a doctor. You may be a doctor forever, but there may be creative ways you can help bring about the new earth or the new systems through like podcasts or, you know what I mean? Some people worry like that they'll have to give up some. Your higher self knows. And no matter what you're called to do, it's guided by your elders or your like eternal selfhood. So it's like you'll get nudgings that are going to make you happier, no matter what it is. You may think you want things that you don't really want. Some of you may need to be rich. If anyone had $1 billion, I would gladly receive that. I would start terraforming the planet. That's what I would do. I would build schools and clean up certain ecological things. But like, you may not, what you need is your genius, and your genius is your higher self unfoldment or attunement. No one can do you, but doing you is not copy paste, is not what the system taught you. You have to actually heal, raise your vibration, and get your information. It's a living process, and that is what you're meant to be doing. Again, it's Clown Town Jeffrey Brown here. It's not the culture. You cannot take what the culture gave you as your roadmap. It will depress you. It will haunt you. I succeeded by those metrics, but like in my first 6 months at my corporate job, I felt it. I was like, oh no. And then I went and figured it out. So, I feel like the word sheep is so mean. Ba, sheep. But what a sheep is someone who doesn't self-author. It's funny, my grandma called me a sheep once because for the pumpkin roll. Anyone from Chagrin knows that. I got arrested stealing pumpkins in high school as part of our town pumpkin roll. And she said, don't be a sheep. And what a sheep is someone who doesn't self-author. It takes courage to self-author. You are guided. You have a soul that will assist you. You need the right playbook. If you don't have the right rule, you don't know how to self-author the right rule book. So this is about that. You get the right rule book. You get someone who knows how to play in those waters, help you troubleshoot, help you heal. You get someone psychic who can get that information. That sounds far out, but I can prove it to you. I've got my data points. I'm very accurate. I'm a scientific thinker. I know my physics, went to Rice. I've been doing this forever. I'm already a high-tech shaman. I walk around dealing with energies all the time. I've been training like a little Super Saiyan, and I know what I'm doing. So, it's not very high risk. I have a monthly rate, so no one has to worry about it. And I'm doing this for spiritual reasons. So if you're like, I hate this, I need my money back, I'd be like, okay, I hope you're happy. It works. I'm not worried about it. I'm not, it's weird in our culture to even ask for money to do spiritual stuff. But, in the elder days, they took care of the spiritual people. So, I'm still pretty taken care of by my community, but I have plans to assist with, earth structures. So being fueled by aiding my peers is glorious. All right, over and out. Touche.